This music you can hear is a beautiful piece of music called Amazing Grace. I'm sure that you've heard it a million times before. Now the score is a download just for you. It's free and I'll put it in the link below. And let's see what these little techniques are to enable you to play like that. The first technique is on the score, and it's a spread chord with a little pause over it. And basically the notes are D, F and G, and it makes up a G7 chord, and the right hand plays on the G. Okay, so instead of playing the chord down with all 4 notes or 3 notes in the left hand, which sounds great, it's nice, it's a lovely G chord, what we're going to do is spread. So imagine you're spreading your knife against your bread with your butter. There's no butter on your bread, and we put the D on the first bit of butter, and we play the F, the second bit of butter, and then you spread it across the bread, and it gives you your B. So you've covered your bread in butter. Okay, are you hungry now? Because I am. Dinner time soon. So do you notice we've got D, and then F, and then B, and they stay down, because ultimately we are looking at building up that chord. That's the first technique. And in the left hand we have this similar part but at the end, and it goes C, G, and then first inversion C chord, E with the first, second and 5 on C. It's up to you what fingers you use. I tend to find that 5 and 1 work really well, and 1, 2 and 5. So the chord inversions are something I've done some videos about, and you can find them just there or in the link below. Okay, so take a look at those. But the basics behind chord positions is, if you're on a C chord, you're going to C. I'm going to go 1, 3, 5 for the fingers, and then we take the C off and we put it up here. I'll go 1, 2, 5 like that. And if you guessed it, we're going to go up like that, take that away, and go 1, 3, 5 at the top. It's not that difficult to understand. As long as you know the 3 notes in any major or minor chord, you can play your inversions. Okay. So let's move on. So the first bar consists of a C and the triplet, and that goes in the second bar. Now what happens is the C plays for 2 beats. Then we've got 3 notes in the time of 1 beat. Okay. Now you would normally say quavers 1 and 2 and 3 and etc. However, in this we have to go 1 and a. Okay, so it's 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a. So it goes a 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 1, 2. So ba ba. Right, dynamics are something that's quite featured as well. We have MP, we have an MF, and we have crescendo and diminuendo. Okay, so first of all, MP stands for moderately quiet. I always say it's like a little bit quieter than you would normally just sit down at the piano with. So just something like. So that kind of level. So the first 6 bars are all very gentle and soft, okay? And then we play, get a bit louder in bars 7 and 8. Okay, so bar 7 goes like, and then we've got, and then we start to get a bit louder. Okay. Just there we go from MF to a bit louder on F. So F is a bit louder than MF, and MF is a bit louder than MP. Not a massive difference, just a bit of emphasis. On that area as well, when it goes from G7, it goes. That's got a little line above the note, and that's what we call a prominence line, or it's not quite an accent, but an accent is quite a powerful sound. It's a bit more prominence. It means you're playing it with a bit more emphasis, if you like. Okay, it goes. And so on. So legato, those lines over your music create the phrases, and that's how someone would sing the song. Okay, so we're going to try and sing it on the piano. So play the G, play the C, and release the G, and play the next three notes, which are E, D, and C. From the C, we're going to go. There we go, and then see what I've just done there. So in itself, that's a little exercise you can be doing. It takes a little bit of time, but you will be able to do that quite soon and just practice that in all different ways. Let's just dive into the left hand and look at the chords, and we'll look at the right hand and we'll bring it together. Okay, so I'll see you and the rinky dinky do. So let's go for D, F, and B. So that's our first chord. Okay. The second chord is dead easy. It's 5, 3, 1, making a C major root position. And then we go to a C7. 1, 3, and 7. They're the only notes that really represent a C7 chord, or any chord. 1, 3, and 7. Technically, a flat in 7th. Okay. So we play the C7. And then we stay in that kind of position, and we just move the third finger to the F, and move the thumb down to the A, and it gives us our second inversion of F major. And then we go after that, we'll go straight down to C. Okay, so that's the first line of your chords. So let's play them through. 1, 2, 3, spread. And a 1, 2, 3, a 1, 2, 3, a 1, 2, 3, a 1, 2, 3, a 1, 2, 3. So the first line of chords cover most of the shapes and chords you'll need for the rest of it. So the second line of music starts with C7. C, E, and B flat, don't forget. And then we move on to a G chord with the second inversion. So it starts on the D, which is the fifth of the G chord. Okay. And then we're going to move our second finger, play it down to the, well, not move the second finger, we're going to play the third instead. And that gives us a lovely moving on chord G7 again. Then we go back to root on C. C7 again, do a recurring theme. And down to F, second inversion. Just like that. So that's how it goes. Now together, I can play 1, 2, 3, and C7, 2, 3, and G, 2, 3, G7, move third finger, C root, 1, 2, 3, 7, 2, 3, and F, 2, 3. Okay, so again, pause the video, take your time, and learn that little sequence. If you need to, you might be able to read it straight away, and if you can, that's fantastic. The third line, we hit from the F chord we just played, we're going to go start on the third line of music, and it's going to start in a different position of C chord. We're going to start on our first inversion, which is going to be E, G, and C. Okay. Now that takes us really lovely into an A minor chord. And for the A minor, we're just going to swap our G and play an A. E, A, and C. And fingers 5, 2, and 1. Or you can go 3 and 1. I just tend to like the 2 and 1 position. Okay. Then we're going down to a G7. You remember that one? We've got a D, F, and a B. And then we're going to an F minor. Okay, second inversion. It's a really classic way of finishing any kind of music, really. And then we're going to go to a spread chord. Remember we talked about spread chords on the C. And just take your time to pause that through. And there's a pause sign on the F minor. And on the right hand together it goes. And then breathe, and in we go. Now the melody is so nice, and we're going to break it up just like we do with the bass line, but a line at a time. Okay, so I'm going to play it through and then I'll explain it to you. Okay, here we go. A 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3, and a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, etc. Okay, so that's the first line. Okay, now there are some notes that aren't legato, and that breaks the phrases up and gives you a chance to breathe, doesn't it? Okay, because vocalists and all wind instrument players have to breathe, and the phrasing works really well with this. Okay, so let's have a look at the first position. It's based over the C chord on second inversion, so starting on G. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and a major triplet. And then we don't play this legato, so don't connect the E to the D. So we'll go legato, smooth, connected, and off and back on the D, completely isolated note. And then we go to C, A, and G. And the position of this chord for the F is root, so it's just that kind of position. So I'm going to go C, A, G, okay? And just like that D we played, we're going to play isolated G on its own, and then that gives us a chance to breathe into the second part. And so on, okay? So now play it all the way through, just the top line with the left hand. Here we go. So spread that G7 chord. Which takes you onto the second line, and let's go for the melody on the second line. The phrase is connected from the last bar of the first line music, so we're going to go just from there and take it through. And it goes 1, 2, 3, and a 1. Okay. Now the great thing about this is where I can move our position quite a lot in the right hand. We're going to go from this position into the root position, but not here. We're going to the octave above, like so. D on the isolated note, and then this is where they hold on for 5 beats altogether with a G. However, it's split over 2 bars, and the little line there is called a tie. So don't get ties mixed up with your slurs. Okay, let's go with the G. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Then we've got normal quavers, so it's very prominent. 3 and. Okay. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we play the emphasis note, the G with the line on top. Again, that's separated. Okay, a bit more pressure on that note, but not too loud. Okay, and then what we're going to do there is play the little phrase. It's the smallest phrase in the music actually, and it's the just like that. So it's E, D, C, E. Separated D. Okay, so to move around nice and gently, we're going to go from this new position of C up here, back down, take it back into the other inversion on C to get down the melody line. So we're going to do this, a little trick, alright? So we're going to go 3 and 1, 2, 3, and then put thumb onto C, keeping the phrase legato, and stretch our second finger over. Do you see what we're doing there? We're going straight over there, look. 2, 3, and then G, and that's the last note of that phrase. And then the last line, I'll take it from the last bar of the second line because it flows. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, last line 2. Okay, straight quavers again, so 3 and on G and C, and then the nice little phrase now. This is where the A minor comes in, so it's in context it sounds. There's your pause, and then the spread chord of C. Or you could do octave above, or something like that. And that's it for Amazing Grace. So take your time. It's a beautiful piece of music. Until next time, keep amazing with the Amazing Grace.